Hi, this is Leigh Ambergy, stampwithleigh.com. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Mentor, Ohio, and thank you for joining me today on my video. If you are returning, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. I'm glad you stopped by. Normally, I have a card here to show you what I am going to make. 9 times out of 10, I change it up just a little bit. But today I'm doing something different. Normally when I have a video to share, it is a card that was made at a class, and I will usually cut an extra packet, and then I use that card to make a video. Today I'm doing something completely different. I don't have a sample because this is the card that I'm making. This is going to be a card that is going to be offered at one of my buffet card classes. And what it is I randomly scrolling, whatever, saw a card layout that I was like, gosh, I like that card layout. And then when I looked at it, I said, I have that designer series paper. And it was another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, Julia Sue Stamping, I believe it was. But I just love the layout. It was simple, it was basic, it uses minimal designer series paper, and it's just the designer series paper and a greeting. And that's what I like for my buffet card classes. They're not very elaborate cards for buffet because the attendees, they make 6 cards. There's a choice of 10 cards. A selection of 10 cards, and it's kind of like a buffet. You go around and you pick and you make the cards and in the quantities that you want. So I try to keep those cards relatively simple, not a lot of die cutting and things that are over the top. A buffet card class is not like a regular card class that I have. Those card classes feature just 4 cards, and there are more layers, there's more die cutting, there's more stamping. So they're just a regular card class is a little more involved than a buffet. So I saw this card layout and I said, I want to make that for my buffet card class. So I cut everything and I am making the card for the sample first. I'm going to do a video on it. So that's what I'm doing today. So I'm going to get started on that. And if you are watching this from my YouTube channel, there in the description box is a link that will take you to the blog post, stampwithleigh.com, that will feature this card, and it will also have a listing of all the products I've used and the measurements. So just head over there and you can get all that information. So I am starting with thick basic white cardstock. That is going to be my card base. And then it's just a matter of layering my pieces parts. So these are going to be my layers. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp my greeting and sort of set that aside. And you can tell this paper's been on here quite a while. I'm pulling in my stamping pierce mat for my photopolymer stamp, just to make sure I get a nice, good image, hopefully. And my greeting I'm using is You Make Me Smile, and that's from the Nature's Symphony stamp set. This is also a bundle, but I am not using the dies with it. I am just using the stamp, and I'm inking up in Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I'm going to make sure I get a good stamped image. I'm going to do it this way because I'm going to be punching out. So hopefully, even if this is not completely centered, I can sort of hopefully get it centered once I put it in to punch it out. Close up my ink pad before I stick my fingers in it. Get my mat out of the way. And I am using the 2-inch circle punch. And again, I'm going to try and get this centered. Ooh, came out pretty good. All right, so I have that. That is my greeting. That's my element on it. And then I also pulled out a piece of basic black cardstock. And I am going to, I've got off camera my Stampin' Cut Mini. And if you can tell, it was Stylish Shapes frames where I decided not to use the square. So that went into my scraps for basic black. And I'm going to use the circle on this and die cut a circle. So there is my circle. Throw the scrap away, make sure I keep the die. I sometimes have a tendency to throw the die in my scraps, and then set the scrap cardstock aside. And it's like, oh, that ain't gonna work. So this is going to get layered on here like that. But let's get our parts put together. So this is my Designer Series paper, and this is the Beautiful Ordinary Life, and that's in the new catalog. And it's, like I said, very small pieces. I think these are 1 3/4 by 2.5. I have pulled out basic black two-tone cardstock. So you can see that's the basic black, that's the black side. And then the other tone is a lighter. It's like a kind of like a darker gray. But I am going to grab my liquid glue, because these are very small borders on here, and the liquid glue will give me time to sort of wiggle this in place in case I don't get it, glue off my thumb, get it the way I want it with using my tape runner. So it gives me time to move it around, hopefully. All right, got that one. Again, get the glue off my fingers. And I love this paper. It's just got, one side will be, have 2 patterns on it, but then there are also sheets that have black and white design on it. So let's see, there we go, that looks good. And I love how these colors are the same. So that is really, I love how that works. And no one can beat Stampin' Up! On color coordination with their products. It's just amazing. Takes all of the guesswork out of it. All right, so I have those on. Now I have another piece of two-tone black cardstock. And yes, you can use basic black. I like using the two-tone cardstock. I love it for layering. It does not add weight or bulk to my projects. So this, again, leaving the inside, since I have a basic white card base, just leaving the inside blank to stamp or write a greeting would be perfectly fine. But I wanted to have the mirror image with the black framing. So that's why I am doing this. And again, using that two-tone cardstock does not add any more bulk, especially since I am using thick basic white for my card base. And I am using the thick basic white, normally I don't, but I'm using that to give my card some more stability, because this is all Designer Series paper. It's very lightweight. Two-tone cardstock, if you're not aware, it's in between our cardstock, our regular cardstock, and Designer Series paper. So it's just a little bit heavier than Designer Series paper, but nowhere near the same weight as our cardstock. So what I'm going to do now is just place my pieces, and I think I'm going to just kind of offset yeah, I think that's how I'm going to do it. Okay, but I know on this, I want to add dimensionals. So I'm just going to use my tape runner. And I placed all those out. So now let's see if I can get them back to the way I had them and I want them. So I know I want this one over off to this side. And like I said again, I'm going to kind of overlap this one. This one to overlap. Just maybe there. Down just a little bit. All right, this one is just going to come in just a little bit. All right, let's get my adhesive on here. And just a little bit. All right, now I probably should have done this ahead of time, but I didn't. So I have some basic black dimensionals. And again, these were around the edges of the edges. Used all the ones in the middle, and I don't throw that away. I cut those and then use them. Right. Hopefully I'm going to get my greetings centered. And then this, I think I'm going to put it, do I want it like that? I think so. So I'm just going to use some my liquid adhesive again, in case I need to wiggle it around and move it around. Make me smile. And again, it's not really straight. It's kind of cockeyed. All right, that's there. And we are almost done. All I need to do next is add embellishments. And I am going to add the, what are these? The array of dots. And I think I'm going to go with the pool party. This is Flirty Flamingo, Lemon Lolly, Pool Party, and Pretty Peacock. And the Flirty Flamingo would look well, but I think I'm going to add the Pool Party, because this is Pool Party and this is Pool Party. So let's see where we're going with these. And these are in 3 different sizes. The larger, like a medium, and a small. So let's stick one here. Whoa, that one just popped right off. And now it's stuck to my glass mat. So you know what? We're going to try this again. This one here. And let's grab the medium one. And where do I want this one? Do I want it on the greeting? Do I want it over here? Do I want it over here? I would put it here. I put this on dimensionals, and that will, if I mail this, will pop it up even more. So I think I'm going to stick this one here. And that's it. Get my other little embellishment off of there. So that's it. Very basic, very simple, very easy card. It's just layering your designer series paper, stamp a greeting, add some embellishments, and you're all done. You've got a great card to pop in the mail to someone. Yeah, who wouldn't love? I would love to get this in the mail. So anyway, that's my card for today. And again, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. Bye.